Today we're going to be asking the question, how long do these decks have left on their expected life? Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button over here so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to be starting off with Centurion, and yes, we've got to ask ourselves the question, especially, as we head on into the new format here, pre-Legacy, how long does the King Calamity Turbo deck actually still have in it? Because this has been a question that I think a lot of people have kind of been proposing for a little while, is like, the only reason why Centurion sits at the dinner table is they have an entire turn skip. But the problem is they're not the only culprit in the room that has access to this. Technically, any Tzolk'in or any deck that can make the Crimson Dragon that can, see another level 12 on the field, guess what? They can Calamity Lock you during your opponent's turn. Now, the Calamity Lock debate has been, it's definitely been pushed off into the corner by a lot of players because honestly, a lot of people have been just fed up with the current price of the game. And I don't really disagree with players right now with the dissatisfaction of that. But if you're a Centurion player, I guess the question you're asking yourself is it the next list? Is it before Legacy? We do have the new Centurion support coming in Legacy. I personally don't think that it really changes the method of the deck. It doesn't give it a win con. It just facilitates some new little loop-de-loops for the deck to go through, and I'm not really a fan of that. New little loop-de-loops are cool, but it doesn't... if you're taking away a deck's boss monster and you're giving them supplemental material to not be the boss monster, that's kind of where I think a lot of our problems kind of come in here. So, do you think the TCG is going to let Centurion continue to run rampant? Or do you think that they're finally going to do something about this and take care of it? Next up here is all of this, fire that, Phoenix this, we are just finally starting to get to the tip of the iceberg for the power creep cycle. Well, actually, we are at the tip of the iceberg. The infinite cycle power that the fire deck actually can generate. This is going to include Rescue Ace. This is going to include, honestly, everything in the fire department. I don't think that Konami is going to take too much of a swing at the deck on a future hit here, but once again, as is the title of this video, where do they draw the line right now? If you're looking at the power creep cycle of fire, they just got 3 rotas. They're not going to limit bonfire anytime soon. So do you start going after things in the structure deck, or what's your playtime limit on fire? Do you allow 6 months of change? I mean, they already went after Impulse. We already saw that, the TCG was willing to limit that deck to 1. So where do we go from there? Do we start to, lessen down the deck while still allowing bonfire its maximum searchability? You have tins off in the horizon here. Well, hopefully this year. I mean, anything's possible. Konami can change any sort of product that they want. But those expected reprints that people are looking at right now, that equity, if you start to take things out back, you start putting them down before you start doing reprints, a lot of people are going to start to kind of be like, I don't know, and they're going to start fire selling stuff, and they're going to not want to have product. So, I don't know. I think this is an interesting one for where Konami is going to draw the line in the sand for this. But fire is definitely on the list of things that they're like, I'm in danger. Look at Calamity. I think both of them are ready to go. Next up is Rune. Now, this has been a very interesting thing to consider out here, because the OCG had, I think, way more issues with pure Runic than the TCG ever did. I mean, we're not going to count the train wreck that was Master Duel and all of that, because, to be perfectly honest with you, everything that Master Duel had to endure with Runic Stun was because it's a 1-out-of-1 based format, and it creates a lot of rough issues for the game. So, but when you come down to the TCG version, Runic variants, okay. This is going to sound rough. I think the only reason why runic variants are more in check right now, because the more popular version, being the Bisteel version, just can't really compete with, guess what, fire. When the best deck is not a light or dark deck, well, things start to kind of get a little bit weird out here. And I think that's kind of interesting to kind of think about. If this draw engine with all of this insanity that ensues with it can't beat a deck that's of one of the other 4 elements, well, crap. Okay, well, that's good. So does that mean that Konami on a possible up and coming Forbidden and Limitless might actually do something to Runic? Well, that comes down to lifespan expectancy of the deck. Have we outlived like what we did out here with King Calamity Turbo? Has players gotten out of their system that we can cheese all of this loop stuff out and we're able to get things off of the ground? If the answer is yes, then RIP to Runic. We can finally see it go away. But that kind of has a tie-in to our next one here. The regeneration of Orchest. So on the last list, everybody was so excited. I mean, all of the Orchest enjoyers out here threw a party for Harp Horror to come back. And to a lot of people's surprise, Orchest still is a good deck. Actually, Orchest had a lot of success in the mid to early stages, but most of that success on the later half kind of started to come down to the runic variants. These runic variants provide this very generic game experience, random milling RNG away from the opponent, and it creates this resource game of, oops, you lost your out, while allowing Orchest to put a negate on the field, some of those control cards, Dingrisu. It allowed them to play the game in a more controlling light. And it was very interesting to see that Orchest was able to adapt towards this. Now, the next question here is, okay, can we bring another Harp Horror back? Can we move Harp up and let it go, or are we going to be scared out here of what this deck could actually do? At this point in time, I think multiple Harps being back in the game, I don't think would be much of an issue. I think that players actually would kind of welcome it. It'd be a nice little change and allow people, hey, we can actually kind of mess around with this. And I do kind of agree. I think that would open up some interesting doors for the game. Not everything is about the destructive rampage of destroying playable decks, because Konami has shown, things will come back out of jail. And I think that Orchest, man, it took Konami TCG years to finally do this. I think the next logical step is to go Harp Horror to semi-limit, and we can kind of rip off more of the Band-Aid and be fine. And the last thing I want to talk about here is Thunder. That's Thunder Dragon Colossus. I think the main reason that we haven't seen Colossus come back in this current era is because it's generic. And I know a lot of people are like, that's just a pathetic excuse. Colossus can come back. Over there, you in the back, I know. All right, I've heard you say it so many times. The only 2 things left are Electromite and Colossus, and we can recreate the 2019 format that everybody actually really loved. But I don't think that the TCG felt very hesitant to bring back Harp Horror. So to rip off that Band-Aid and to go, hey, come on back, come back, Colossus. I think they're worried about how generically splashable the card is. And it's been proven by a lot of people in the TCG that, not being able to search your deck, Floodgate-esque cards like that, are not something that the average Joe want to deal with. And I can understand that 100%. But at this point in time, Thunder needs something, or we just leave it over there humped up in a pile dead in a corner. And I don't know if I really like that. Konami's proven to us that, they can mess around with these archetypes and give them things, or they can just leave them locked up. But I wonder, if Thunder Dragon Colossus come back, does it actually make a difference? Could we actually see something actually matter from that? I don't know. But a lot of interesting questions today. I actually wonder how long these decks actually have till they either get cratered or they actually get the chance to come back to near full power. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Let's see your beautiful faces back in there today, guys. Peace. Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.